decided with the older adult kids, we're like, hey, we don't need families.
I honestly
Let's just go
do something.
do something.
What a novel idea.
And those that
Yeah, no
decided not to come, sorry,
Uh,
it's a
ye-
Christmas present.
That good, right? That is right. Oh,
Why
that's
did I turn
awesome.
that off? Ringers.
I know, right? There's so many little bells.
I forgot my cell phone.
Well, what you call it?
What? That was my computer.
They shipped over there.
You'll leave me the card. You'll leave me the card.
I like that number. I think that's a great number.
You could leave me the card. That'd be great. What? I do.
That was so fun.
It's kind of a thing.
There's Lincoln.
Yeah, I failed to dress up. I should have. Darn it. I hope you'll find it in your heart to forgive. You know? No, I know you're not one to be mad about not. Shorts is the best thing. You're not going formal. We forgot to chat after our fun meeting with Dwayne and Haley.
Yeah, we didn't get much of a chat.
Did you see that? This report here they sent us on the economic benefit?
I haven't got a chance to look at it.
I didn't either, I'm just seeing it. No, this is first I pulled it up.
All right. Got the
We're
recording
ready.
on?
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay. Welcome, everybody. My name is Mayor Carolyn Lundberg, and Happy New Year. We're excited to gather this evening here in 2026, and grateful to see a full quorum here with us tonight. We'd like to welcome you here to our city center and those that are watching online this date of Monday, January 5th, 2026, here in our council chambers. And as always, we begin our session with an invocation, and that will be offered by Councilmember Lincoln Jacobs, followed by a pledge of allegiance, which will be offered by Sarah Broderick.
Our dear Father in heaven, we approach Thee this evening, Father, our first city council of this new year. And we pray, Father, that Thou would bless us as we discuss items of our city. We pray that we would be mindful of, as we move forward this year, that we would be mindful of all of our residents and their needs and be able to weigh out all issues from all perspectives. We're grateful for those who have put time into preparing for this city meeting tonight. We're grateful for our staff, for our city employees, for all those who serve on behalf of Lindon City. We are especially grateful for our first responders, Father, and pray that Thou would continue to bless them as they serve our city and meet the emergency needs that we have. We are grateful, Father, for the opportunity we have to meet in a free country, to gather together in meetings like this. And we pray Thy Spirit to be with us and say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Lincoln. All right, stand. Thank you so very much for that beautiful invocation and the leading of the pledge. We now will follow along the report here, which you can find at the opening of the door. And we first begin with item number 1 on the agenda, which is our call to order. And so I'll take the roll call here, starting on my right.
Van Broderick, present.
Cole Hooley, present.
Carolyn Lundberg, present.
And Jacobs present.
Jake Hoyt, present.
Steve Stewart, present.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, item number 2, this is our presentations and announcements. And we have this evening the oath of office and swearing in of myself and a couple council members who were reelected. Congratulations, Van Broderick and Jake Hoyt. So we will go ahead and proceed with that with our city recorder, Brittany Laidler, going ahead and doing that. Would you like me to?
What order you want to go in?
Do you have a preference?
By formality, who dressed the most formal? I'm kidding, I can go whatever order you want.
I'm waiting, what? I'm waiting for a couple family members, so I'd love it if you would take it first, guys. Okay, thank you.
Jake, you win then.
Least dressed to, this is ascending.
You tell me where you want me.
And then just repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jake Hoyt,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity. Much.
Hey, will you sign this? I state your name.
I, Van Broderick,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
And would you like to come up and do a picture? Sarah, would you like to come up and do a picture with Van? You with him?
She's stolen for time.
Okay, all right, I'll come up next. Where do you want me? You probably know this, okay. I state your name. I, Carolyn Lundberg. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support, obey, and defend. That I will support, obey, and defend. The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of this state. And the Constitution of this state. And that I will discharge the duties. And that I will discharge the duties. Of my office with fidelity. Of my office with fidelity. Yes. I am going to ask my family to come. Let's do a quick picture. And then after, I want to grab my council members that were sworn in today. That's all right. Thank you.
Literally did. Oh, man. Man.
Jake's checking out his, how bad am I?
Yeah. And yet he looks sharp. What can you say? Some people just have it no matter what.
Who are we looking at? Okay, here.
I will look there.
All right, then we'll look here.
It's interesting photos of where you're not looking anywhere particular.
We don't even see the council picture.
All right, thank you, everybody. everybody. All right. So grateful to get to work with each of you, and it was a very relaxing election year in Lindon. So compared to some of the things going on around us, we're grateful for that. We're grateful to have such amazing staff and dedicated people, and everyone just gives their all. Just really appreciate everyone so much. All right, we're going to now move on to item number 4, since there are no items for number 3. And this is our council reports. I understand we all had the holidays, so there might not be as many tonight, but Steve, if there's anything you'd like to start off with?
Just that we are having our penultimate activity with our youth council. They get to go up to the state legislature for the ULCT Day at the Legislature. All the youth councils throughout the state, many of them will be there, and they'll be able to, what I understand is hear from the governor himself, as he will be one of the keynote speakers, so, and then participate in various activities there. So we're very excited about that. We have, I think, 100% going, so.
And council, you are also invited to come up that day. The day at the legislature is for elected officials as well. You have a little bit slightly different itinerary, although Lincoln did kind of hang out with us the whole time last time, which was really
That's
fun.
because we made it look like so much fun.
Yeah.
Not just looks, it is fun.
That's it. Thank you.
Nothing to report for me.
I have something to report because he sent it to me last time and I didn't get it in time, so this is a little bit late, but I'm glad, Heath, that I can report your information that you gave. We had a good response to the leaf cleanup this fall. Several groups, families, and a scout troop volunteered to help clean up leaves this fall. Big thanks to all those that volunteered. We have hired a new employee. Autumn resigned, it's now been a couple months ago, I think. But the new employee is J.C. Swallow, and December 15th was her first day. We're lucky to have her. She'll be a great asset to the city. The recreation program is in between large programming, but a basketball registration is over, and we have 528 youth playing basketball with us this year. And our wonderful pirate ship has a new liner. The pirate ship and the new liner in the pool are completed and ready for 2026. They look great and should last us 15 more years. 15, not 50, 15 more years.
Awesome. One thing from the communities that care, they sort of have a larger activity once a year and then programming throughout the year. Their larger community connection event is Monday, January 12th at 7 o'clock at Timpanogos High School. And they will have 3 25-minute workshops. One is called Mind Over Media, talking about technology, phone use, etc. The second is Safe to Talk, how to create emotional safety in relationships with your children. And then next is Coping Skills. And their childcare is available. So this is a family event, so parents can bring their children. And there's treats and family gifts, all sorts of great things. They've worked really hard on it.
Awesome. Just more about that community connection event over at the Timpanogos High School. So this is a recurring event, as Cole mentioned. And I posted the flyer for it on the Lindon Community Connection page, social media, and had so many great comments from it. I had one resident said, I have attended one workshop for adults last year, and all caps, highly recommend. You get to have a Q&A time with professionals at the end of the meeting as well, and they do the same for the teens. And that was, all caps again, very, very helpful to know how other parents were helping their teens. So grateful for our community cares programs. They're really making an impact and people appreciate it. So these are really worthwhile, and I'm planning to go myself. So it should be really fun. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
of
right.
course.
And then,
Nothing to report today.
okay. And then Steve, one thing I don't know that if you got to report on was the senior luncheon.
I was just going to ask you for extra time.
That was a great event.
Yeah.
So tell us all about it.
So, and I even invited everybody over the course of months, so I'm embarrassed that I dropped the ball on that. But we had a senior Christmas program, really well run, and we had so many seniors there. Just to see their faces as they all sit at tables and get to know each other better and have that celebration. They had some dancers, some ballroom dancers from at BYU, I believe. At least it was coordinated by them. Is that correct?
Wasn't it Tanya's daughter?
Yeah, Tanya's
Yep.
daughter that,
Former Little Miss Lindon and her crew. It was pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
and just love seeing our city folks there serving, and it was just a great atmosphere and really nicely run event.
It was.
I was one of the
Thank you,
seniors,
Parks
by
and
the
Rec.
way. I was there as a senior.
You
I-
qualify.
I did.
It's hard to put that in the brain, like we're getting older, right? Anyway, all right, and we will now move on to our administrator's report. Oh, okay.
To that here really quick. The only thing I have on there, Lincoln, you're up for February newsletter, so that's all I have, Mayor.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, very nice. All right, we'll move along here to item number 6. This is the approval of the minutes from our council meeting dated December 15th, 2025. Council, if you've had a chance to review, any additions or changes?
I didn't see any changes. I'll make a motion that we approve the city council minutes from December 15th, 2025.
All right, very good. We have a motion. We have a second.
I second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Hoyt, seconded by Councilmember Stewart. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Wonderful. Okay, item number 7, we have none this evening, so we'll move on to number 8. And this is a review in action. I see we have our consultants here. We'd like to invite you forward. This is the adoption of our park master plans. And there's been a lot of great public feedback and reviews and input from everyone here on council. So we'll look at these and invite also our Parks and Rec Director, Heath Bateman, to come and present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilors. My name is Jeff Pay. I'm with Civil Science. And this is Jordan Goff. He's with us as well. And we're grateful to have the opportunity to come back and show you some additional concepts that we've expanded or kind of made some revisions based on some comments from last time. So with that, we'll go ahead and, Jordan, do you want to take us through these?
Okay, can we put that on the full screen one? Or, I think, yeah, you can see everything now. Okay, perfect, thank
Okay,
you.
Let me, I can adjust that while you're talking here, so.
Thanks. So for the Thornton property, let's see, yeah, changes since last time. So I won't probably go through everything that we went through when we presented them the first time, but feel free to stop me if there's any questions. Really, the only change from last time is looking at that intersection where you enter the parking lot and narrowing that down, doing some bulb outs there, and then adding that crossing. And so that, yeah, just to allow better pedestrian movement across the new road connection, then everything else there remains the same. We've got the fenced playground, the parking lot, pickleball, and then that multi-use grass area that's also the stormwater basin. Oh, yeah, that'll be useful.
Great. I just had a quick question. So here it says parking lot 15 stalls. Is that not 16 stalls shown in the photograph?
That's a good question. That's to reserve one of them,
Or
probably
heading.
to be striped for ADA.
Oh, for an ADA.
Yeah,
Okay,
which isn't, I don't think is shown on there, but I think that's why that got calculated like that. So one
Yeah.
of them wouldn't be a stall, it would be striped for the ADA
Okay.
access area.
Wonderful. One other question, some of the feedback that I read in comments was the number of parking stalls. And I noticed as you enter that parking lot, is there a particular engineering reason why you would make that first corner square so large and not just create another stall? Do you know what I'm talking about? I could get my...
Yeah, right there.
Yes. Is there a good reason to not have an additional single stall on both sides?
Yeah, and maybe you could weigh in on this too, but the reason would be it can be a little bit more dangerous as you're backing out of those stalls and people are turning in off of the road to have them so close to each other. I don't know if there's a standard exactly about it,
Like
but that's the
distance?
reason to have it set back a little bit so that if somebody turns in right as somebody's backing out of a parking space, then you don't have a collision there.
Although wouldn't they typically back
Although they would probably be
Interior-
backing the other
interior,
way.
not exterior,
Usually, yeah.
exiting?
Yeah, especially on a one-way parking lot like that. I think.
There were just comments about, oh, there might not be enough stalls there,
So
so,
stacking distance is an important one too. So as just stacking distance, as you're leaving the parking lot, it gives you room to stage a vehicle here if they're waiting to pull out. So
Oh,
that's another
okay.
reason. And
So with the parking, something to keep in mind, we do have a pretty wide shoulder, and so we would anticipate parking all along the shoulders of both sides of the street. And then something our engineers are looking at, Noah and Trent, currently our city code prohibits new construction to have parallel or perpendicular, let's see, it would be perpendicular parking where they would back out onto a street.
or an angled.
Yes, and so they're looking at whether or not that might be feasible with a code adjustment where we could put in a few spaces there along Gilman. And so keep in mind, this is a master plan, meaning that there might be some minor tweaks to it. You're adopting the general framework of this park. And so if there's minor tweaks to it that could occur, and we would bring those forward to you before we have final plans to construct the project, so.
Okay. And then the other thing that we had talked about was on Gilman Lane, creating a wide enough shoulder that parking could be accommodated there as well. It looks like, from what I can tell, that might be
Street
possible.
parallel parking.
On-street parallel,
Yeah,
not
that would
angled
be-
there.
But it wouldn't be angled, correct?
Right. And then I was looking at the little strip that we own here, right there. I'm assuming this green space is city-owned?
It is.
Okay. That's the boundary. With Los Hermanos, okay. Yeah, Los Hermanos currently right now, I believe they have a shared parking agreement here with the Bible Church, and they often, when they're busy, have overflow parking, which right now probably will not happen once there's the intersection through. I'm just curious if this is seen as excess, if they might want to purchase and get extra stalls, or we would want to entertain allowing them extra stalls, if this is just going to be kind of a big, wide, I don't know how many feet wide that is, I guess. I'm just curious, that green space there.
Yeah, I don't know exactly off the top of my head. It looks to be maybe 15
yeah,
feet.
that's what I was gonna say, 15 or 20 feet, something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, which might be a required setback already.
It could be. So if Los Hermanos was a new site, they would have a 20-foot landscape strip along all of their road frontage. And so my understanding, the purpose of offsetting this is because of the radius on those curves on the corners. And so we would be offsetting it so that we're not having to acquire property from Los Hermanos.
Okay, line of sight, et cetera.
Yeah, and so the intent right now was just landscaping. If there's opportunity to work with them and pick up some more parking, we could certainly explore that with them.
All right, I just don't know if they are fully aware of these plans and how it might impact their parking
Yeah, on
abilities,
their,
stalls.
let me actually pull up just a street view. The traffic signal currently goes through their parking lot area, and so it's not like it's just a sidewalk. I gotta get to the next street. So the crossing here exists right now in the similar fashion as it will when the street's improved. And so
Yeah, and I guess
pedestrians
they
could
have-
still cross at the
They have
crosswalk.
people sometimes overflow park and they can walk here safely, where
Yes.
in the future this will be quite busy.
Yeah, so these curb returns, my understanding is those are in the approximate correct location. And so, yeah, people could still access this parking lot through that agreement that they have by using the crosswalk.
All right, okay, just a couple thoughts, thank you.
I just had a couple of questions. Thank you. I was looking at my notes from the last time we talked about this, and residents and other comments about the safety of the playground. I saw that you added the fence. Right? Yeah, that's really awesome, and the crosswalk will make it much easier to see people moving. I really appreciate that. I didn't see an addition of shade over the playground in the breakdown of costs, and so I just don't know how much that sort of thing costs. But anyway, I know that would reduce the utility of that playground in certain months because it's just too hot and the kids can't use it. And then with the parking, Heath, do you know how many parking stalls there are at, let's see, is it Pheasant Brook? Yeah, Pheasant Brook Park in the parking lot, not the on-street, but just, I'm trying to get a sense of size, comparing this 15 to what that has. I know the other one has more because there's this center.
I don't remember exactly, but my head wants to say 60.
Yeah, that would track. I got thinking of the uses of this park with the two, the big grass area and like soccer and things like that. Seems like it would be a likely use. And so I was just I know what it looks like because I go down there when my kids play soccer. And, that parking lot is full, and on street on both sides of that is full. And so I was just trying to transpose in my mind that accommodation to something like this. And I wonder if we've maximized parking. Maybe there's more because there's more on street.
Or if the on-street was angled, as staff is exploring that.
Yeah.
It provides more than just parallel.
I know it would gobble up chunks of the grass, which is not thrilling. But that was just one of the chief concerns that I remember residents bringing up. And it is like give and take because with the additional safety measures which are needed, it gobbles up some of the on-street parking right there, but is necessary. So I think we might have lost some parking since the last concept. And if there was a concern then, I think it would remain now. So I just don't know what sort of options we have, but.
Cole, can I just make a comment?
Yeah,
about
please.
that? We don't, from a recreation standpoint, we don't see any leagues or tournaments that we're gonna promote here.
Oh, okay.
We want those measured and put in there for grant opportunities and also to show that the size of them.
Yeah.
But where we're more concerned on the pickleball / basketball and playground,
Yeah.
even on street. So we don't have any current plans. Don't say it will never happen.
Sure.
To be down there with 80 cars on a Saturday.
And there's enough shoulder on both sides of the road? On
This is a 66-foot width, and so this would be similar to Center Street, 4th West, 4th East, 800 North, big streets, 200 South. Yeah.
So maybe that's all there is to do with that. I just remember that being one of the other concerns that was brought up, so.
Great. All right, anything else with Thornton Park?
Great. I think that should be everything on that one. Did you have anything else?
I was just going to mention on what we've done on the playground area. We've got an allowance in there. We also, in our estimates, we also have a contingency in there to kind of cover some of those unforeseen
awesome.
things or additional things that may come up. So as far as shade goes, that's definitely there to be
That's great.
used for something like that.
Something to keep in mind on this specific project, the estimates that have been provided by the consultants are just for the park improvements, so they do not include the road improvements or the utilities under the road.
Right.
Curb gutter sidewalk, that's all separate. So.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Any other questions on Thornton or recommendations? Okay.
And then for City Center Park, I don't believe there have been any changes to this one since last time. Were there any revisions to this one since the last?
Little bit.
The gravel parking lot.
Was that since last time? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No,
I have
you're
to
good.
remember which
I
version it was.
Which iteration
I'm sure
we've
there's
last
been lots.
visited.
Yeah.
Yeah, so adding the gravel parking lot to the north of that smaller field. So that keeps that as really just, it doesn't even really have an outfield. So it's just for little kids to play there. It's got the bases. And anybody who's going to be hitting it farther than that really needs to go play on the other field. And then that gets some room for pulling that gravel parking lot up and around there so that not having so many problems with people parking all over the grass and everything like is going on right now. And then also adding those parking stalls. Where'd that laser pointer go? Oh, thanks. Up in this area, you don't gain a lot of parking, but you can carve out another maybe, what is it, like 5 or 6 stalls. You'd have to look, it'd probably have to get surveyed and look at it in detail to know exactly how many stalls, but I think it's like 5 or 6 stalls right there that you can add of nice asphalt parking, and then that larger gravel area to the north of that field.
Here in this photo, it looks like it could be 8, but like you said, it's potentially.
Yeah, is it 8 up there? Yeah, it's a little bit fuzzy. We'd have to look at exactly how it works out there. Hopefully 8. I think definitely like 6. And then I think like Adam was saying, this is kind of the master plan, and then once it gets into engineering documents and get it surveyed and look at exactly how many we can fit right there, but that's right about, I think, what it would come out to.
And one other question for you, Heath. I know one of the things that's been a little bit challenging when events are held in the park is the area where currently, it's not even in the photo because it's over here, where vehicles go in, like say food trucks or car show people or whatever, where they're entering is an area that tends to get wet and soggy from the sprinkler system and creates ruts. Do you ever would you imagine it might be beneficial to create like an actual ramp into the park there perhaps, or something of that nature? Because right now it's a muddy mess often.
The biggest reason that gets muddy is because our main line goes under it and we break the main line. It's not been put in very deep, and we've tried to cut it in a little bit more, but the main line runs that curb line and then turns and goes down to the other end of the park. So it's actually some pretty big pipes that we're breaking. If we wanted to do that to ensure that they don't break and sleeve underneath maybe a landing or something, it could happen. It's super soft most of the time, maybe some infill and then some
Gravel or,
adjustments could be made to it. That's the best place to pull in as of now, unless we do some more parking spaces, which we pointed out at the other side. So I don't know, when you're putting big trucks, food trucks across that line, like happens during our summertime, it's pretty tough to keep that main line without settling and breaking that with those trucks. But that's something we could look at, certainly.
Yeah. Save some headache and having to go fix the ruts and
Even just a
everything, yeah.
metal plate during that
Yeah.
time.
Just something to keep it from squishing.
Wonderful. This looks great. I think it's solving a lot of the pinch points that we brought to you here with the arena and the area. One other question I had was, Cole had mentioned shade here over the terraced seating and the bleachers. That gets extremely hot during all the horse shows and the Lindon Day events. And there were some big heritage trees there, but they were not a variety that staff deemed safe. And so they were taken out. And any thoughts there on shade, whether some sort of fast-growing tree or a structure or what? I see Heath looks like he's in thought there, because
Yeah, I think personally, with regards to shade, I don't think it would be hard to do as part of a project when it goes to engineering. The trees on that steep side hill might be tough to overhang and grow.
So you prefer maybe an actual structure?
I think I would, that we could
Okay.
take up and put down for snow and winter. Similar to what we have at Pool, but some longitudinal ones or some shade sails that are triangular. I'd prefer that, I think, rather than, and I will put trees in there, but I don't want to put them right back there on that slope and try to establish them and make sure that there are, 10, 20 or 12-inch trees. It makes me a little nervous right there, but it needs to be considered as part of the project.
Something to keep in mind if we were to explore that more during the Lindon Days events particularly, we do have people that seat all the way up that hillside.
Yeah.
And so any structure or trees that we were to plant over the terraced seating is gonna block their view. And so
I think part of the reason why they sit up that high is because of the shade. Like there is more
let
shade
me
up there.
find a photo before the end of the night and you'll see there's hundreds of people and it's not just shade.
Oh, I know. I
So-
just, when we go that early, the people,
Go up in these trees for the shade.
yeah, because you just see the sunlight. But you're right. We end up infilling everything anyway. But
Yeah. Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, there used to be a couple big trees there that were really tall.
Siberian elm trees.
Yes,
Just
your lovely
small
elms.
deer trash trees.
Yeah,
When they get that big and they drop branches that big,
Ye-
it's the same reason we moved them off the baseball fields as well.
yeah, with the shade, the same. If these are master plans, aspirational, working to grants, it'd be playground and the bleachers with the smaller practice diamond. The other has some. Well, we had to cut some of those trees too. So anyway, if that could be in the flex funding for that, put on one of the line items, that'd be great.
Great. We have any other questions on City Center or any other thoughts there?
I know that there's been discussion of the well house, and I know Juan is not here tonight, but there's been some talk. I don't know that the well house refurbishment or rebuild or whatever that becomes. It looks like now you're saying, let's do a separate restroom building. But there have been some talks about what that rebuild of that well house might be, and I'm assuming it'd be in the same spot, so just kind of keeping it there is applicable, but any additional information there that might
If I could
pertain to
just
this?
mention one thing about that too.
Heath, can you use the mic
Oh,
just
yeah,
for the,
sorry, yeah,
for the
get out of that
recording?
habit.
Thanks.
Sorry, one of the things that we've talked about, Ron and I and Juan, is it possible to build a new pump house? Yeah, there's a lot of electrical, a lot of money that would go around that. We don't basically use, including Juan, half of that building, which brings to thought just the placement of this bathroom in kind of an awkward spot just for the placement, because if you're on that hill, you're going to look over around a bathroom to see the kids playing
Exactly.
on their
Yeah, it
sheep.
blocks
It's
it.
not in a good spot.
So
potentially.
Juan and I and Ron have just preliminary talked about that. Juan is all for it. He thinks it could be done. It's a
Incorporate
poured
the
roof.
bathroom. Yeah,
And,
that's,
and cut it or rebuild something. It just would depend on what the council would like to
I
do
agree,
and
I
and
agree.
money.
Right now, where that bathroom is a spot that would block, as you know,
You'd have to
Adam
be up
meant,
on the hill.
yeah. But people are sitting down at that level frequently and watching the events, so something to keep in mind. Like we said, this is kind of big macro view, but there's little fine details, and I appreciate anyone mentioning anything, because I think it's good to just put it out there as other tweaks to consider.
Because even
as
if they
we
just
find.
put it where the porta potties go, that would.
There's storm drain back behind there.
Oh, okay.
So
I was like,
it
'cause
has to
that's
be
where-
feathered in there somehow, so.
That
Yeah.
wouldn't be in people's way.
All right. I know also that building sometimes has a little opening on the east side that it becomes a little snack shack or distribution of goodies and things like that. So something of that nature in the new building would probably be quite used along with the bath. It has, disabled bathrooms right now in there, so. Okay. Anything else on City Center Park?
Take us up east.
You have two iterations here.
And we have, actually 3 versions of it.
For that, that's so
So we've got
helpful.
options.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, that's right, 3.
So the first one is the one that you saw last time.
Yeah.
And so no changes to that. And I know this one wasn't super popular, so I know this is probably not the preferred option, but I just left it in there just so that we can see that as one of the options. So with the 4 pickleball courts on the south side, I know we had the residents of that house here last time, and they were pretty concerned about that, which makes a lot of sense. And it seemed like we were leaning away from doing that. And then if we can click down a couple to the next one. This is what we're feeling like might be our recommended option, depending on what the priorities are. But this one works out really nicely. Putting that pump track up there in place of those pickleball courts, that's a little bit more passive use. It's not going to be as loud as pickleball, so it's still something that kids can go and they can ride their bikes on the little hills, and it's a fun amenity. And then also doing like a couple tiered boulder retaining walls that are going to look a lot more natural than the serious retaining wall that was going to be needed to fit the pickleball in there. So I think that'll blend in a lot better with the mountain landscape, and kids riding some bikes. Some boulder walls will fit in a lot nicer, and then still getting one pickleball court over there, and then the little obstacle course and the bike skills stays the same in all of the concepts. And then also the restroom building sits right there next to the pickleball court.
That's awesome.
I have a question for you, Lincoln, being I consider you the resident expert pickleballer. For the pickleball community, is one pickleball court a good use, or do you typically need more than one to really be a
Well,
destination for pickleball?
it's certainly something. More is going to bring the group that will have more players, and so it's going to be a lot more appealing to have the three rather than the one. Since we met last time, I also had an additional thought. One of our reasons for this, as I've had conversations with Heath in putting a park up here, is to help address what he calls the nefarious activity, right? More pickleball courts up there, the more public is going to be up there, the lower the crime incidents are going to be. So pickleball for the sport, 3 would be much better than 1. For a city safety area, I would definitely go with 3.
Although the 3 requires getting additional property, which is a big added expense.
Yeah.
Then I'd go back to the 4 from the very first one. Because, well, pickleball will draw people, and public being there will drive the crime activity to the other places that are a little bit easier to commit crimes without public being there.
So did you already, I'm assuming you already looked, I'm looking at, say, version 2. Did you already estimate that you cannot situate 2 pickleball courts with the existing property next to one another there?
Yeah, they don't. There's no way to fit 2 of them. And there's also is it power there? There's electrical through there and all the guy wires, and there
Okay.
was just no way to fit more than
There's
one
just
without acquiring that additional property.
Infrastructure issues, okay. The bird's eye view tells one story, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Where is there built-in places for parents to sit while their kids are doing the pump track or the obstacle course?
There could be benches added,
Yeah,
perhaps?
benches. I mean, nothing. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I just didn't know if I couldn't tell by the drawing, and I couldn't see from the line items if there was. I see picnic table, park bench, but I assume that's for these like picnic pavilion. And so I just didn't know.
Yeah, there's a 10 by 10 picnic pavilion that's there, which would typically have picnic tables or something under it.
I just think from like with my kiddos, I imagine depending on their age, I would either be at the picnic table, not caring a whole lot, and my younger ones, I'd probably be nearish so that I could monitor them. But that was the only thought I had, is I didn't see where parents could sit.
Yeah, well, that's a good comment. Yeah.
Totally add those in. That wouldn't be a big change, and
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a big cost implication either.
Awesome.
Great idea.
I like the obstacle track and obstacle course, or the pump track and the obstacle course. It just feels like nothing we currently have in Lindon, which is fun. I
Yeah.
think this is a new park idea. I think it'll draw a lot of attention. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Work fitting them in.
I'm thinking along that same line, because I don't want every one of our parks to look the same with the same features. This one has something that I think appeals to a different group.
Yeah, I like it. Sketch 2 is the one I prefer.
Sketch 2 with 1 pickleball court. Financially, I like that one the best.
It's also by far the cheapest option.
By far, which there's a part of me that's always important because I'm fiscally conservative, but also from the standpoint of I really want to see this park built sooner rather than later because of how unique it is.
Yeah.
And if there was a grant that Ron finds that allows us to do it faster and has more pickleball courts, maybe I'd lean. We always have a healthy park tax, but I think I'm with Cole and leaning a little bit to number 2 as well. Just so I'd love to see this one move faster, move quicker. It's exciting, new concept.
You could have in the park plan, this is number 1 and an addendum option 2. If things were, we don't know if we have a willing seller on that other one, do we?
Excuse me. I have talked with the landowner about a year ago and mentioned, the city might want to plan up there when we started the process. He was a willing seller. We did not get to price. But he did, and then he called me back a little bit later, a couple of months later, just wondering. So I think it touched something with him, but we did not get to an appraisal or price.
All right.
Is that something where we're looking at purchasing the whole parcel or just a portion of the parcel?
He would like the whole parcel to go.
Yeah, sure. Do we have plans for the other part of the parcel?
It's pretty steep, some of that's pretty steep slope.
Yeah, are there any other benefits to the city other than a park?
We have a facility to the south there, but
Yeah,
that
I
building.
don't know that we're gonna fit much in there with all the
Yeah.
guy wires and everything,
Yeah.
but.
I think what you've done here is great. The parks, you can never have enough parks, right? Provide our citizens with a lot of wonderful, happy times. Love them. My heart's broken on that one with the pump track and just the one pickleball court. I think we have a greater demand than that. There are still other opportunities. But appreciate your efforts. Appreciate the work.
Very nice.
But really quick, just jump back. I found a few photos from, this is 2023 this is during the Lindon Days event. So the terraced seating we're looking at just below that white rail right there. So in my mind, any trees or shade structure is gonna block quite a bit there.
These would have to be kind of trained up, trimming up the caliper as it grew. So the umbrella started quite high.
I think that would also be impacted by whatever seating was down below,
Yeah.
how inviting that was and the quantity of it.
Right.
Because people just start spreading out and sit where they can.
I
So we're
think with
looking
the
at
terrace,
this-
like to Van's point, I think the terrace seating would be a much more efficient seating to accommodate more people. Is that what you're, yeah.
Oops.
Cool to see pictures of summer, though.
Yeah.
Pretty dreary out there.
Green grass.
You can see not as many people go there. It's a bit steep, and there's, like to Cole's point.
They're up in the shade.
They're
right
going up
there.
to the shade first, but I think if we had shade and terrace seating that was really not quite as steep there, I think they'd be closer, most likely.
A little bit of a liability. I saw a lady turf it last year. There's a couple spots that are just so steep, and it's grass.
No, there's no.
I've got a picture from a drone. You want that picture?
Oh, cool.
I can show you. Yes, I'll do that right now.
What sort of, I'm more familiar with what Lindon Days looks like. What, are there other competitions or things that happen that don't use the whole hill and then shade would make more sense?
The horse events would use a terraced and bleacher area, most likely. So those happen periodically throughout the summer as well. And then there's also like Friday night riding clubs where people are coming and just recreationally riding together, but the families are kind of around the arena and gathering. So more seating close to the arena would be utilized.
Like to Heath's point, if it was like the tarp thing that is removable for Lindon Days to prevent blockage of us watching, but during the other activities, if that shade would be helpful and wouldn't block anyone, it seems like.
I think that we have a nice little riding arena. We don't have an arena to make revenue because you have to pay for people to sit. So you can have some ropings and some other things. But now that the arena is wider, and if we had some real seating opportunities, we could get some barrel races or ropings, some fun little clubs that would come in and maybe do a jackpot or something. I think the possibilities are getting better as we improve.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you for the work on that. It's looking great.
Okay, any other comments, gentlemen? This is a review and action item. So with any further discussion or questions on this?
I guess the question, I have a procedural question. With the feedback that we've offered, are we voting on what is or what has been recommended?
So I heard the recommendation on the benches or seating to be added to the master plan.
Shade, we have to pick which of the sketches.
You definitely need to pick the other sketches on the shade item. That's something that we can look at in the future.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be on the plan for us to do that. And so if you're comfortable with the plans in general, I would recommend adopting your preference on that third one and then on the other two. And that enables us then to go out with some grant applications saying, hey, we have this master plan.
And
If there's
really, it's about the
changes or
timing.
tweaks to it, we would bring those to you.
Because the grants are opening right now. We've got to get these plans in the grants. Angled parking, I think we're talking about is pretty important potentially to explore on Thornton.
We'll keep exploring that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But if you feel good about the overall look and feel of this is where Ron and the team can go make the applications for the grant cycle. And then it sounds like we could have like an addendum, you know, a notation in the record of the items that we still would like to explore for potential tweaking. I mean, from what we've seen before, a park master plan does potentially evolve over time, what's actually executed and built out. So
I would expect it to evolve and hope it would. And to Cole's points throughout this, shade is a huge, huge deal. And anytime we can do that, it makes it,
more
I don't know if
used.
family friendly is the right term, but it is family friendly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
All right, council, that is on page 13 of your staff report. If any of you are ready to make a motion, I would entertain one.
Cole, this is sounding like your baby.
I am, but the only hesitation is I've seen how some of the master plans work in other areas of the city, so sometimes it's kind of a bigger thing to get things changed. And so I am kind of worried about if we don't have something on here as structural as these bigger shade things, I worry that they might not make their way on there. But I just don't know if this is one of those things that's an easier add-on.
You could approve them with that recommendation that they be added to the plans. We'll work with civil science.
Okay, yeah,
and
then I can do
adjust. We may have to adjust their fee for
Sure.
additional work to be done, but you would be making that a condition of your approval if
Okay.
you chose to do that.
How,
You can just put a note on the drawing saying, we'll investigate shade.
Sure. It just is a
Shade,
utility
parking,
thing. Like
et cetera, yeah.
it's the difference between a park being used and not used. And so I think it's like
A big
You
priority.
can go in reverse too, just like the pickleball courts that we have master planned in Hollow Park. and neighbors didn't want it
They were
later on.
reduced.
I mean, so that this can go the opposite direction too. Just because it's on a plan doesn't mean it will be built.
Oh, sure,
And
sure,
so-
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
memorializes it by you putting it in your motion. I think that,
Something a little stronger than us all thinking it's good. That'd be great.
That would be great.
Okay, so then we're on page 13, okay. I move to approve Resolution 2025-1-R with the following changes that we will,
You know what? Sorry, that's a typo. It should be 26,
Okay, great.
2026, sorry.
no worries. I move to approve Resolution 2026, which makes sense, 1-R with the following changes for the East, what's the official name? The East Bench Park? Lindon East Bench Park. We will go with sketch 2 and add a recommendation to include shade structures.
Benches.
Oh, and yes, with the Lindon East benches for parents to observe their children, and then shade structures in the Thornton Park over the playground and the Lindon City Center Park playground, baseball bleachers, and then investigate shade for the rodeo grounds. Is that actionable enough? Okay, sorry, it's a mouthful.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Hooley, seconded by Councilmember Hoyt. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
All right.
And the nay is just, I think we have an opportunity to put some pickleball courts on that east side. I think we're missing that opportunity. Otherwise, I think it's great.
All right, very good. Well noted.
And they could end up there.
Good.
They can. They certainly can.
And then Ron, share with us really quickly the cycle that, for the different, okay, when we're doing that? Okay, great.
That was awesome.
Thank you so very much.
Mayor, just a big thanks to Jeff and to Jordan and their team. I think that they've done an outstanding job and have probably stretched our budget further than we deserved. So thank you, gentlemen. They've done a great job for the city.
Thank you very much. All right, we're moving on now to item number 9. This is also a review in action regarding some grants for the Thornton Park property.
So before I do that, I took some notes while you were talking. So just so you know, you hosted the Utah Outdoor Recreation Team on December 8th over here.
It's great.
And that has a very positive impact when you do things like that. The mayor was there, and they came and saw the city, and I don't know if you know what that does, but anyway, thank you for doing that. And they came, and the mayor talked to them, and we all talked to them, and so it was good to have them here. I think the message about shade has been well received. But we're gonna start with Pheasant Brook first, probably, because there's not a stitch of shade anywhere
Yeah, for
around
sure.
that.
Yeah.
There are other grants that can be used to get shade. That doesn't have to be, this land and water one's more for big projects, diverse projects and stuff. There are other grants in the state that we can use to get shade structures. Parking, we have different levels in the city. Creekside Park has no parking lot. And it doesn't I've been down there, every time I've been down there, this on-street parking's not very bad. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of depends who's using it and so on. So,
That's true.
we could have too much parking at Thornton Park. I don't know. Yeah, and then the detention basin part of Thornton Park, we are including that in the grant application but I don't know how that's gonna be received, because I don't know. We're just gonna have to see how that plays out. They may come back and say, we don't wanna pay for your detention basins or whatever, and then we'll probably look at funding the smaller park or something. Yeah, I think that was all. Oh, I wanted to point out, as I write grants, one thing that's kind of come up with recreation in other cities and stuff is the benefit recreation has on mental health. There's studies in hospitals and stuff that are showing the benefits of outdoor recreation on mental health. So as we write grants and things, we really want to emphasize that. And I think just as parents and as leaders in the community, it's important to understand there's some really big benefits to having kids get outside and adults and get away from all the electronic stuff and all that thing, those things. So the more we do, the better, I think. And then up on the east bench, that one pickleball court, one thing we didn't really talk about much, if you get a bunch of courts up there, if you're gonna light them, then it's gonna have a lot more impact on the neighbors below you. So if you decide not to light them, that's probably not as big an issue, but if you've got lights blaring for 3 pickleball courts, I don't know that I would wanna live below there. So,
If we use the right lights that
Yeah.
just come straight
you
down.
can. Yeah, I don't disagree. But the last time we met, there were a couple neighbors who lived up there.
Yeah.
And that was one of their concerns, was the lighting.
It's certainly a legitimate issue to be considered and
Yeah, I mean,
mitigated.
even
as
those
best you
that come
can.
down affects sort of the night sky a little bit, and some of that stuff. The beauty of that park is you can look over the whole city, and it's more a natural setting than some of these parks we have down the middle of the city. So I think it's kind of exciting. I think that's it. And then, so this resolution you're signing, I'm in the middle of preparing the application for the Thornton Park for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. One of the requirements is that you have to pass a resolution saying you support applying, and then that you will pay your part of the match. So that's what this is, and so that's due next Thursday, a week from this Thursday.
So what can this funding be used for and what can it not be used for?
It can be used for everything in Thornton Park.
But nothing with the road,
Nope. In
but
fact,
everything else in the plan that we
we
were
have to
just discussing.
exclude the road out. So everything that ends, if you were to get money for this, everything that's in that boundary has to stay a park forever. Yeah. You can change if you have to, but it's not an easy process. They want it to stay outdoor recreation forever.
Sure.
So you have to exclude the road, the parking lot, they'll probably let stay in there and some of that stuff, but yeah. So that's kind of,
But you can make changes to the plan, but it still stays a park.
you can't change it to a non-recreation use. So they don't like things like cell towers plopped in the middle of parks and stuff like that. That's a big problem right now. I mean, they're kind of getting a little more lenient.
Well, we had just talked a lot about this is a master plan with kind of a general direction and tweaks and adjustments can be made. Does this grant change that ability in any way?
American Fork had an issue on their driving range at it used to be Tri-Cities Golf Course, Fox Hollow. And they had purchased all that land with the Land and Water Conservation Fund. And then on the backside, they had put that driving range for the schools. And ran into a huge problem because now it wasn't public recreation. It was only for BYU or UVU or the high schools to come play, not open to the general public. So that's the kind of things you have to think of. It needs to stay in community, city recreation.
Yeah, so the ones Creekside's funded with land and water money. And so I think when you put parks in, you want them to stay parks almost, in almost every case. I've done one conversion with land and water, and it was down in Provo, and it was extremely complicated. So you don't really want to go down that path if you don't have to. So
Were they going from and what were they going to?
What's that?
Provo, what were they were going from a park and what were they going to?
They had a baseball field up at Timpview High School that was just being used by the high school, but it was bought with land and water money. And so they sold that and got $3.2 million and bought where the Epic Port Sports Center is, that 100 acres down by the lake from the church. They used that money to help buy that, so. But that was a 2 or 3 year long, controversial, complicated process. It really wasn't very easy. So, anyway. So I think Adam's got to do the next part.
We're ready for a motion unless you have any questions. I emailed out, it was in, the estimates for the park improvements were there in your packet, but I sent out earlier today, Ron had forwarded these cost estimates for what he's submitting on the grant. So
Yeah,
any-
those are the forms they make me use, so you'd be into it 1.6 million.
any questions on?
The resolution says 2025, I imagine that needs to be 2026?
The description has 2026, the sample
Well,
motion
here's
has
the problem.
2025.
Their application says 2025, and so I'm trying to match their application. And I've
Okay.
emailed them to clarify that, but I haven't
We-
heard back.
You know what, does it say, where are you seeing the 26?
In the sample motion.
That is another typo. This was me wanting to get home for Christmas. But hey, the resolution's correct, so let's go 2026. And then we listed it as the 25, 26 land and water, because we weren't certain as Ron
I
and I
don't know
talked.
that they thought through that.
So, so yeah, in your motion, please say 26.
As you're talking about needing to make the application, at what point would this be awarded? At what point would you
Well,
anticipate the city needs to come up with their portion?
Well, I talked to them today. They plan on reviewing these in February, and then they'll decide which projects go forward, probably in the middle or end of February. Then they will talk to the National Park Service about those projects. You have to do some more paperwork. And so they said towards July or August, somewhere in there.
So it'd be next budget year for sure.
For the award or for when we need to plan to match the money?
You have 3 years to build the project, so I don't think you have to have the money in place at the time you sign the contract.
Yes, we'll be putting in the road in 27, and it would be ideal
You mean
if we
next
were
year?
awarded this. Yeah, yeah, totally. If we were awarded this, it would be ideal to do some of those things in conjunction with each other. So.
Because of the amount of earthwork out here, if you could build those projects kind of simultaneously, because maybe the road needs some fill from the detention basins or whatever, probably could save some money by building them at about the same time.
Council, if we're ready to proceed on this action item?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve resolution number 2026-2-R as presented.
Right, we have a motion by Councilmember Stewart. Do we have a second?
Eyes for lack. No, I'll second the motion.
All right, second by Councilmember Hoyt. Due to the pause, is there any further discussion needed on the motion?
Nope, trying to find everything on my phone.
Yeah, sorry, you think we have the money.
This would be a conglomeration of a lot of
We
different
can do a lot
pots.
more
And
grants
so,
besides this.
yeah, I
So
mean,
a
for,
lot of the amenities, we can stack grants to execute the amenities.
we do not have this much right now allocated for this project. And so we haven't budgeted anything for this project.
Right.
And so this would be us combing the budget to pull out of multiple sources.
Yeah, and Ron nodded his head, there's a pretty good plethora of other grants that could be,
Yeah, and I think
Tagged
if you
into it.
wait a year, your chances of getting money will go down. They have $6 million this year to spread out. Next year, who knows? I mean, this is federal money, so it's just who knows?
It's very political and
Yeah, it is political.
tied to the economy and, anyway, okay, very good. All right, so we have a motion and a second. I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that is unanimous. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And,
Just- Sorry, just
Go
as an FYI, so we purchased the property, we own it outright, and we paid for that full purchase, so that's done.
Yeah.
And so all we have is improvements. We're not making payments on the ground or anything like that, so, okay.
all right, thank you so much for everyone. And that makes us, we'll keep Keith here in the seat here to go on to item number 10. This is just a discussion item, no action regarding our aquatic center pay and pool season dates.
Mayor, if you're all right with it, I'll invite the beauty and the brains to come up.
Oh, I like it.
I'll have Kendra and Alan join me. We've discussed this, well, for years, actually, and they'll be able to answer some of the questions that I don't see day to day, and so thanks you guys for being here. I did give you a pretty long memo with some issues that basically boil down to three things. First of all, probably overarching, is trying to eliminate as much as possible 15-year-olds from working, because that triggers, should we stay open later in the night, and should we stay open after Alpine School District starts their schools? So maybe if we can just go through this, I'll just give you a couple of highlights if you didn't have a chance to read it. We're looking for an adjustment, a wage adjustment. I provided our current 2026 wage range, which Alan and I and the pool staff and Adam put together a couple of years ago, and it was pretty good as we put it in. It did attract people, and then more and more people as more pools raise theirs. I don't know when it's going to stop either. It's just a swimming pool, but there's only a certain amount of people that will be guards, and we train. McKendra trains lifeguards and teachers, and still we struggle in a couple of different ways. But you can see that a lifeguard on the range 2 area on the 2026 range, lifeguards start at range 2 at 2 and 1, which is 1186. We did a pretty thorough comparison of wages and rates and found that for our very first step, 1052, we were lower than pretty much everybody.
While you're there, I did have a question on the 1052. So the 1052 is for cashier concessions, facility tech.
Oh, yes, correct. That is correct.
So is the 12 the comparator across cities for what would be our range 2?
Yeah, it would be our range 2, 1168.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, I see my typo there. Lindon, I put lifeguard on that range for the other pools.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. So we're recommending, comes out to about $2 an hour more across the board, which would put us about right in the middle to the higher end of, higher middle end to where the ranges are now and salaries are for the pool staff. So the important facts, we're looking for competitive ways that allow us to not to hire so many 15-year-old workers. Currently, other pools are sending them to us because they have their fill of 16 and 17, 18-year-olds. And sometimes it could be by location. I think Provo has a lot of university students, or might have some university students. Pleasant Grove, not so much, and Lehigh and American Fork, we're all kind of battling for the same individuals. And we do have guards come from all over the valley. In fact, Alan ran a little report. Can you just talk about that little report of where our guards come from?
Yeah, they come from everywhere. I'm trying to see, because it was a data sheet that Chase actually put together. And if I am pulling this up, it looks like out of this, it is, what does it say, Lindon? For Lindon people, it's about 39% of our employees are Lindon residents, and then the rest come from everywhere else. There's 30% Orem, 14% in Pleasant Grove, and then the absolute rest come from West Jordan, Vineyard, Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, Highland. They come from everywhere. So there's about 60% that are right here in Lindon, Pleasant Grove, Orem. The rest are everywhere else.
And I do have to say, many, many families have appreciated that their 15-year-olds can get a job at the Lindon Pool. It's kind of like a tradition. It wasn't for my kids, because there's not very many places a 15-year-old can get a job.
I will say also that those steps that was put in back in 2019, it was trying to attract, there's year 1, year 2, year 3.
Yeah.
If we can get them at 15, and then they can come back at 16, and they can come back
Exactly,
at
they do it all
17.
through high school.
If it bumps up to 16, 17, 18, that's even better. But it was trying to attract people for multiple years instead of them starting 1 year and leaving to go to another pool. That was the thought behind that.
It's been great. The council has provided the COLA, which has increased that for those guards coming, which has been a great benefit that you've allowed that to happen when times have been good, which has been several years in a row. So thank you for that. The issue that we have is they can't work past 9 p.m. and our pool closes at 10:30. We need them at 10 till 10:30. Is that about right, McKendra? About 10 to 10:30. And so if we've got a majority of 15-year-olds working during those party hours or that open swim hour, it gives us a dangerous situation when half the staff goes, because we're not going to get crossed up with labor laws like some neighboring pools have by having
I had a
15-year-olds.
question about that. So you were proposing they're potentially closing at 9 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. But how long do the staff have to stay to clean up and fully, like on the clock? Is it a half hour? Is it 45 minutes more?
It's not like a required time limit, but it depends on how long it takes. But we've also had some of our staff that are 15 that are working until 9. We have them clock out and leave. Then the rest of the staff who are older can stay and help finish cleanup. It can take an hour, but that's like max. So it's usually like a half hour after closing time that we have to clean up everything.
Do you see something in the middle being beneficial, say closing at 9:30, so that we can still get those party groups feeling like their reservation isn't cut short, but maybe not going till 10?
Sorry, I should clarify the thought behind those closing hours. Currently, on Monday, we close at 9:30. The thought was closing it an hour early at 8:30. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we close at 7. The parties go from 7:30 to 10:30. But the thought is to go from 7:30 to 9:30. So they have a 2-hour instead of a 3-hour party. And then Friday, Saturday, instead of going a 3 or 4-hour party, we close at 6. But the party normally goes from 6:30 to 9:30 or 10:30, they can choose. It would be limiting that from 6:30, it would just go 6:30 to 9:30. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they have a 2-hour party. Friday, Saturday, they have a 3-hour option, and that would be that. That would be the only options that they have. So it's not limiting it till 9. The public hours wouldn't change. It would be the reservation hours would go back an hour.
Although
We'd also-
Monday evening, you said.
Yeah, you're right. Good clarification. Monday would be, instead of 9:30, it would be going back till 8:30. The amount of people that stay till 9:30 is slim.
And that's the open swim night.
Yeah, and it's after a certain point, we have no more, I'll say, revenue coming in. There's no more people buying admission. There's no people going to the concession stand. So what we have is just leaving it open for people to stay later. So 8:30, I think, could still accommodate the late night, but reduce the amount of time and money that's being spent on staffing. So that was the thought behind those
For some
hours.
residents that complained, hey, I get off work.
Yep,
So I know we opened it longer for that reason.
correct, yeah.
But because we were closing even sooner than 8:30 before. So
sorry.
8:30 could be a good in the middle of that potentially. So the dads coming home from work and the
One of the-
moms coming home from work can still go swim.
I'm just remembering, one of the biggest reasons the parents were complaining is because we were offering parties instead of late night swim. So there was no opportunity to swim
After work.
except Monday, and we made that Monday specific. So there's a lot of dads who, we had parties 5 days a week. and we had only one swim day, and we were offering parties on Monday, so that was part of that as well. I got no time to swim now because of the Monday. But that's one of the things that we've proposed, that we've looked at here. So if we're looking, and Kristen has not had her real numbers involved with this. This is on Alan's amazing spreadsheet that he's looking at now. If the data in is as good as the data out, we think we're pretty close. We're looking at about $130,000 increase in projected wages. I will say, that's if every shift is taken, everybody shows up, every hour is spent. That would be the maximum. Could be $130,000 extra a year, which is one of the reasons why we maybe proposed closing earlier, sending everybody home, because that's significant wage boost, which I put down a little bit lower. So the first question, should the council consider approving a wage adjustment for the Aquatic Center to improve recruitment, retention, and operation stability? That's the first question. Now, if you want to ponder on that a little bit, we can move on, because some of this stuff plays into the same kind of situation. Number two, should the Aquatic Center close earlier, which is what the mayor's been referring to, on Monday through Saturday? We estimate that if we close early on Monday through Saturday, we could save $122,000 in staff wages. That could be, that is a significant chunk of the $165,000 that we may be asking if we increase the wages. Then again, Mayor, we've got those same things you were talking about. Are we going to have party people really bucking? Because now it's not a 3-hour party, it's a 2-hour party. But truthfully, I'll speak for all three of us. At 9 o'clock, the pool parties are done, even in the summer. And we let them stay open until 10 or 10:30. Maybe the flow rider will have some people that'll stay. So we're not so sure it will be a huge pushback. So we're again, because the pool runs 24/7 during the summer and the winter months, lowering the reservation hours, we'll lose out on some revenue as well. The number looks about like 68,000 if those 57 reservations are booked, plus or minus. Is that right, Alan?
Yeah, and those reservations would go from May till when school starts. That's the 57, and that's if we rent Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday evenings. Some of those dates will get closed for things like coach appreciation parties that we throw. But if we decided 100% we are renting every night, there could be at 3 or 4 hours, that loss of $68,000 in revenue. And then that next number, I'm sure you're going to talk about.
Go ahead.
The next number would be if we end up closing the private reservations after school starts. There's about 15 days that we could do reservations. It's a less number, but it still is that 53,000. So that was the thought, was if we do reduce those hours, we would lose out on that revenue, but we'd also save on the back end in employee wages. And I don't know, truthfully, how much pushback we'd get on those 2-hour parties. I think people would actually appreciate that, especially with the the rental increase last year.
So the second question, would the council support closing the Aquatic Center at 9 p.m. Instead of 10 p.m. on Monday through Saturday, except I guess the Monday is different. It'd be 8.
8:30.
Or 8:30, yeah, 8:30.
My initial reaction was maybe ease it off a little bit less drastically, maybe just a 30-minute versus a full hour. And I know that changes your numbers.
Well, that's what we're shooting for, right?
Yeah.
The maximum that we could save.
Yeah.
So that could be adjusted,
I think
and we could have a
My
number for that.
personal opinion is, having gone to a lot of parties, I think 9:30, and then the staff would take until maybe 10 to clean up and close up the pool. I think people that book the parties might feel, it might be a little more, like you said, pushback. If it's a full hour cutoff, we could ease it off a half hour. But I agree, a lot of the families, the bulk of the partiers start exiting 9 to 9:30.
Anything after 9, we're back into the 15-year-old issue, which is about, what percentage of the staff do you think are right now are 15?
We shoot for 30%, but this year was around 40% of our staff.
But you're hoping to rectify that with a more competitive wage.
Correct. That's why it kind of all
Yeah.
ties in together. We're kind of rolling the dice on one or two little things. So, would the council support that? You can think on that. Go ahead, Mayor. Sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, I appreciate you really looking at this and giving us kind of on-the-ground feedback of what you see happening. So that was just my initial thought, and again, Monday night, maybe just backing that off a half hour versus a full hour. And I do think, the problem is Alpine School District starts so crazy early in August. And August is still a fabulous, hot month to recreate. So closing 100% when school starts, which is like the second week of August, it feels very abrupt. And I know there's the financial, but you know, our pool is an investment and it's a recreational amenity. And I would love to see it still utilized on the weekends, and because that's peak heat of the summer sometimes.
I fully agree with that. The only problem we run into also is like the safety concern at that point, because when school starts, half of our staff aren't even showing up to their shifts because school started and they're like checked out. And so that kind of causes an issue. We get to the point where we're closing some of our amenities. Like if we have too low of staff show up for their shift, we're like decreasing numbers per pool. So then we're having to close the slide or close the hot tub or close the baby pool. And so that's kind of an issue, which is one of a main concern of why we would want to close earlier in the season, just because we don't have the staff to be able to handle it.
On the weekends only?
No, on the weeknights, not during
Nights
reservations.
for the parties?
Yes, Saturdays are fine. It would be the weeknight
Weekends.
reservations.
It's the weeknights when the
It's the rentals.
guards are
Yeah.
in school.
And I
their
should
sports are
clarify,
starting.
the numbers that are run it's showing closing on Monday at 8:30, but it is still showing the private reservations closing at 9:30. So it'd be 7:30 to 9:30. That's what the numbers are. And then what this number 3 would be is closing, it's no more private reservations as soon as school starts. We would be open 3 Saturdays and Labor Day Monday. So it's still open to the public, but we would just close down for private reservations and eliminate those.
What about reservation on Friday nights?
Yeah, that's not listed in this. The one issue that we're running into is that's still a school night. It's still technically a school day, I guess. And so the child labor laws are showing that they can't work past like a certain time. They can't work more than 3 hours in a day, which our shifts go 4.5, and then they can't work past a certain time.
The 15-year-old?
The 15-year-olds. So we could still do 16 plus.
It's Friday night, they're not looking at getting up the next morning for
Yeah.
school.
But it's still, still with child labor laws, we can't do the 15-year-olds. And so
A Friday.
we could make it work with the 16. We've made it work for 16 years with 15-year-olds, but the thought is just making an adjustment for the future. That's just kind of what we're asking.
Is your wage increase proposal to get 15-year-olds?
The
Or
wage
is it to get
increase,
16-year-olds?
that's the
So
hope.
this is kind of
Yeah.
two different things I'm hearing there.
Well, I think it's to try to attract the 16-year-olds. Some of the pools, because our pool requires so many people, like I'll use Pleasant Grove, for example, we were told by some of their guards that they could not work at both pools. I don't know if that was after school started or throughout the year, and they pay more. So it was not, they were not gonna finish the year here, they were gonna finish the year over there, to go to the higher paid pools. So that's what we're looking for. We're trying to attract 16 and older is the hope. And when we've surveyed our, you know, my 13-year-old doesn't know how to get home some days. So I don't know if she really understands, is it the money that drives it? The pool is fun. And McKendra and Alan do a great job, but that's our hope, is to try to get those older kids to commit to us and stay throughout the end of the year.
Here's gonna be just a quick question. How did we do last year? Where did we sit? Plus, minus, and about roughly how much? Not counting the mortgage.
The numbers, we have what we think, but I don't think Kristen has finished the summary. But we're certainly subsidizing, probably to the tune of, what did you figure? We figured about was over $100,000 without the mortgage. Everything that we've tried to do, you looked at, I know that we've,
Yeah, this is a financial report that Chase pulled real quick.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is from Chase. With some of the capital improvements and the large projects that we had, we were under, according to Chase, 879.7 thousand. If you want to take out some of those large improvements, that's a different number.
Just operational,
Yeah,
just
this is, and
operations.
this doesn't include bond payments. So this would be, we made in revenue 1.2 million according to what Chase sent, but we spent 2.1 million in expenses with some of these large projects that we did this year. So that's what he pulled.
That was a more unique year because of the liner replacements.
Yeah,
We pulled the
$800,000.
boats out.
I'd be curious what just the operations expenses were, taking out the capital investments.
Yes.
Yeah, I will do some numbers.
But it seems like it's always about 100,000 on the operating side that we're in the negative.
Which
It
gets me back
seems
to a
like-
little bit of the rentals. And I know the price and the temperature, there's many factors that control. Are we charging appropriately?
Well, I got really scared when we raised that rate last year, and still, the pool filled. We had, and it's, the demographic has changed. Mom and pop and the wards and those that used to rent from us can't afford it. So it's dentists, doctors,
Real estate
lawyers, and realtors that they're buying the pool and spending it.
And it's maxed out.
But my
It
point
fits
is we want to increase the wages, to increase the quality of the experience. At what point do we put that on the people that are renting it? And I don't mean the citizens, but, and I know that's just the business world of how high can you go before you start losing business? And that's the question that's been asked forever and ever. But I would hope there would be some little bit of analysis provided in that regard too, with the regard of, we want more money to pay. Can that be put into the rental cost?
I think we could do a three-way straw poll here, and I would say, yeah, it can be raised. You too?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you ever check
we
with
didn't
other
chase-
cities and how they?
yes, and we did, but we're a different apple than even the Sarah Pool,
We charge way more.
way more than them already. But the big businesses are coming after us.
We're a aquatic theme park.
That's
We're not
right.
just a city
And we might compare against better, that one up on the hill up there. What do they call that now?
Flash Summit.
Because that's what we tried to do, turn it into a resort-like deal. But we can certainly evaluate that, and will.
Are there
Evaluate
any
that.
rentals that we're giving away to certain groups?
There's no sweetheart deal other than the ones we take.
The ones we take as a city, which are?
That's two. We've got a coach appreciation for our volunteer coaches and our volunteers. We have a city party that we do, and the swim team has a party. And they pay, well, about 140 of those kids, McKendra?
No. We have almost 300 people on the swim team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is
so-
that a free night for them?
Mhm.
So there's 3 free nights we're doing. Any thoughts on that? Like, making any, are those really, are people loving that and participating, or would it make sense to sell one of those or combine or?
I think especially with coach appreciation, I'm sure Jake would comment on that. I'm like, it's a really great thing that we do for our coaches, for all of our recreation programs all year long. They put in a lot of time and effort for volunteer work, and it's a really nice payback for them. And the same thing with our swim team. They put in a lot of hours to help with those things. And again, I mean, it'd be our
Swim
city
team
employees.
kids too?
Yeah, all the kids and the coaches and the volunteers, that they put in a lot of hours to volunteer to put on the swim meets for the kids.
And is the turnout, could those be combined on one night, or do they really need to be 2 separate nights?
I would say they would have to be 2 separate nights. The coach appreciation night is pretty large in my experience, but
We have a capacity of 1,200. Yeah, our capacity is 1,200. Could it be combined? Yes, but it's large. It would be a large, very large party. We'd have to separate some areas, but yeah, it's really nice to have them separate.
The city party is another one, and you've seen that, what we get there. If you want to maximize and sell every week, we do have in the fee schedule now that I have the ability as the department director to offer premium nights at a bid format. You really want a premium night? Well, what you're willing to pay? What are you willing to pay?
4th of July.
Yeah, and it's kind of a harder deal to handle, but we don't want to have those 3 days because we want to maximize that. We'll do what
I'm
you'd
not
like.
suggesting we don't do them and appreciate people. I'm just curious what, taking up the whole pool and blocking out a whole night, how well they're attended, or could we downsize from 3 to 2?
An hour
or-
and a half,
Yeah.
or just how well it's used in the programming of it,
Like
the
the
structure.
city employee one, I don't know, we all get pool punch, complimentary passes. It's nice to gather, but also the attendance is a little,
Maybe at a park or something.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
we've got 1,500 people coming to a party and we've got 100 employees or 150 employees
yeah.
and their families and friends, it is different.
Council, what do you think of just the Lindon employee pool night? We all get punch passes to go with our families if we want. Could we do a party in a park and let that be a sellable night, or is that something we really want to keep? I'm just not seeing huge attendance on the employee party. There you go.
The pool entices my kids and their kids so my grandkids, so.
With your punch pass, you take them? Or
No, the party where they come.
The
Just
food
the punch
and et
passes,
cetera,
that's
yeah.
what I give to my kids and grandkids.
We started with the punch pass during the day and then carried it on through the night. And it was my favorite day of the year.
Ellen did a little math here with Chase's, and it looks like without the capital improvements, we subsidized the pool 518, 967.
Yeah,
Is that right?
It's pretty close. I think there are some of those improvements coming out of some places, but that's without capital improvements.
Just without our capital improvement line. Because I know that that's already way too high because the liner cost
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
So that's probably not a fair number.
So maybe look at that closely, just the operational cost, not the capital improvements. And try to look at, with the increases that you're looking at, how that might be reflected in the private party. I'm not trying to put this on the citizens more, but people that are, if they're going fast and you're selling them out.
One of the things that we are going to recommend to this council in a month or two is we want to increase the day rate. We've only increased the day rate in 15
Day rate for
years.
who?
To entry, for pool entry, from $5 to $6. Now, that's the non-resident rate is $6, and we've talked as a staff about, we've got 80%, 70% non-residents coming to this pool, maybe we ought to hit them with a $2 raise. And the non-residents
Or to go to
versus
a
the
movie
the
that's,
residents.
you know, a
So
couple
for $5 is what it's been for residents for a couple of years. Since the opening, it was $4.50. And so you will see that from us, asking for an increase in the cost for day entry, which would be punch passes across. So I guess the bottom line in here that I will say, if we were to close with the Alpine School District calendar, if we were to keep the weekends open and just close the pool parties, it's not going to save us a dime because the pool still has to run. In order to save money, we'd have to shut the pool down on August 14th or 16th because no chemical, no heat, then we save money. But if we want to do those 3 weekends, Saturday, Monday, then we might as well try to attract more 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
Could you sell the Friday nights? But we talked about maybe selling the Friday nights to.
I think they would
party.
sell if
Yeah.
we can staff them.
would.
And this is a great step forward to staffing them. We believe through all of our investigation. The last two things I put on your council report, there was a summary of calculating postseason, which is, we call postseason after Jordan School District starts. I live where, you can tell where I live. Alpine School District starts. So you saw those numbers at the bottom. They have, there's two choices there with our revenue against our wages. Could be a savings of I don't see red so good. Here, just summarize that.
Okay, yeah, if we kept, looking at the numbers from this past year with what we, like our revenue versus expense, our estimated expense, we still lose $5,442,000. If we did end up closing for, once school started, did 0 rentals, that number jumps to 60,000. And so, you know, we're staying open for the public because historically and generally all these pools stay open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. It's much better to have that revenue coming in with the private rentals. But if we wanted to cancel those reservations, it would be 60,000. If we did put in the parties for Fridays, you could, what's that? 3, 6, 9, you look at 12,000 to 15,000 less. So take that 60,000 and subtract that. But that's what that would look like. That's what those numbers are.
If we can staff the nighttime with 16 and olders, again, that's a roll of the dice. I know it, I get it, but you can see on the deal, the difference is this is without reservations, that is with reservations. That's our loss without reservations. That's our loss with the reservations. So we're not making money on those parties really anyway. So the last thing we thought about, Adam and I discussed about a bonus option. We have talked about a bonus. We've given a bonus before for every hour
you
work.
did
There
it.
was 25 cents. And we did some numbers here. We think they're pretty good numbers. As an alternative, maybe the council would consider a post-season retention bonus. And maybe it's a good one, like $1. If for every hour you work, you just got $1 an hour raised post-season. And then you'll get that'll be added to your last check. The bonus, would be paid as a lump sum. And then the eligibility requirements, we figured, if you're going to miss one, you're out. If you're not going to show up, you're out. It's just if we can retain these people for the extra dollars, according to our 2026 approved fee schedule, the bonus, if 20% of the staff do it, it'd be $9,300. If 40% of the staff did it, it'd be $18,000. That's based on the total season hours postseason, right?
Once school starts.
Once school starts, right. So
Bonus is only during the post.
that's our problem.
Yeah,
Really,
and so,
it is.
because I think the way you did it before was they got a bonus on their entire employment. So this would just be that mid-August to Labor Day. Okay, just clarification.
So there's one other thing. I'm sorry this has been long, but we've been going around and around on this for years, trying to figure out how to present it. But the one thing is we've got prime reservation people waiting. It's past the 1st of July, and January, and I did not let Alan and McKendria book ones that we would have to cancel. So we probably ought to have a decision on closing reservations postseason, yes or no, as soon as possible, although we can come back in 2 weeks and get that number. But
And what we want to charge?
yeah. And we can actually, because we've got, the other dates are being booked now, so maybe we're a little bit behind that. We just held the postseason dates, right?
No.
Did you hold them all?
Reservations,
Oh,
period.
good. Well, there you go.
So we could increase the
Okay.
reservation amount and determine dates, okay. Good.
That's a whole bunch, the fire hose, I'm sorry, but they're all kind of interrelated. So I would take your counsel on what you'd like to see come back to you for a decision. If we need more data, more information to take a look at what the operations actually are. But we'd like to set a date to come back to the council with some recommendations on trying to make the pool safe. That's number one, with the 15-year-olds and everybody leaving in the evenings, safe and then successful and not such a black hole.
Thank you all for thinking through all this. Like when I was reading, there's like, oh my gosh, it's like whack-a-mole. Because you're just like, we'll do this, but then that'll pop up. But then we got to do, and so I can't even imagine the number of iterations that you've had to go through. And thank you for trying to make that pool safe and delightful for everyone. So that's awesome. Thank you. And this is I'm just like, well, there's so many moving pieces. if I were to simplify the problem, is it that you need more 16 and up lifeguards, like more employees who are 16 years old and up? Is that like, could a lot of this be solved if that ratio of 60 to 30 was actually the case? Or is there something
originally
else?
started with a wage increase, and from that number, from what the number would be if we increased the wage, was a lot on the projected amount that we would have to budget for if everybody showed up to every shift. And from there, then it went, wow, what if we save a little bit of money and reduce some hours? And that would give us a better number that we could present. And from there, it was, well, we've struggled every year trying to keep people postseason. So now let's look at that. But it all started with a possible wage increase.
And that's because of lifeguard retention issues, or that was because the percentage was a 15 to 16 and up? What was the?
I would say that is the genesis and the problem.
Retention.
If we had 80% 16-year-olds at the end of the season that would stay and be retained, I think a lot of these problems with the parties and the reservations and the safety when we cut people loose would be better. That's what I'm shooting for to
So
attract.
this is my list, and everyone else might have a different opinion. Monday night, right now it's open till 10, you were recommending closure at 9. And
it was
that,
9:30.
9:30.
We're going to 8:30.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
I would vote, my opinion would be close at 9, back it off a half hour. The parties, you were recommending 10 PM, back them down to 9:30.
Yeah, it was, instead of 10:30, it
10:30,
was 9:30.
9:30,
Yeah.
okay, 10:30 to 9:30. And I was, again, a half hour back off, and then just see how that goes for a year with the party folks.
So a clarification, Mayor, when you just said that the parties went till 10:30, we suggested 9:30 closed. Are you saying 10 o'clock?
10, I'm
Okay,
saying
10 o'clock
half
close.
hour, ease off
Okay.
the availability, a half hour, 30 minutes, and just see how that, if you get any pushback, or if that, and from what I'd agree that there's just not a lot of people hanging out to that last 30-minute portion anyway. My other question is, really quickly, the party folks, I know those that are the hosts, do you let them come in while the general public is exiting so they can start to set up? Or do you make them wait? There's a 30-minute window that nobody can be using the pool.
We have allowed them to come in 15 minutes early from the rental, which means the pool, let's say on a Friday, the pool closes at 6, we let them come in at 6:15 to start setting up. They can pay an extra $200 to come in and start setting up an hour early if it doesn't displace current guests.
Okay, so that 30-minute window question, that we're not banking any money, tell me why there needs to be a 30-minute that's not monetized.
It would be getting the general public out and then getting the new group in. So that means, let's say it's a busy Saturday at 6 PM, we've got 1,000 people in the facility.
And they're
30
straggling
minutes
out.
trying to get 1,000 people out, and then having the next group come in and set up for their party, and then at 30 minutes later, have another 1,200 people come in.
Okay.
It's a large
Cleaning, take some
transition.
time to clean.
Yeah,
Great.
chairs,
That was just a
reset.
quick question I forgot to ask. Okay, so you heard my vote is off 30 minutes. My other vote would be on the post, when Alpine School District starts, stay open on the Saturdays, book the Friday nights. Because if we're gonna be getting the older kids by having a more competitive wage, I'd love to see how that goes. And I think make those Friday nights boost, let's increase the cost for the parties a little bit. I'd be across the board, a little party, a little, even if it's a, inflationary
Do
justification.
you have a feeling for what you'd like us to look at there?
I would need to look at that again.
This is what I'm gonna ask you. How many rentals did you do? How much money came in? How much did you lose? And try to get those closer together. I'm not looking to make money on the pool. I've always said for a long time, in good years, I hope that we can cover our operating
Yeah.
costs.
I think a little bump there,
Could be
and
a
like you
goal.
said, your idea of maybe even creating like a bidding on the super prime holiday stuff. Do you have a tool to do that right now?
It was put in the fee schedule, so we can make something.
I would love
How
to
did
see
that work
experiment.
last year?
Didn't institute it last year. It was in the
I would
fee
love to see
schedule
you
because
explore it and try
they
it
just
out.
start loading them up. And if that date's gone, we don't have a complaint. So I would have to offer dates and then say, hey, here's a prime date according to what we've got. I've never had anybody call me and say,
How
I
many
can't
prime
get that
dates are
date.
there?
Except for this year.
How many prime dates could you experiment with to create a bid war?
24, that's every Friday and every Saturday.
They're the ones that are in highest demand.
Or all of
It
July.
would be interesting if you have a tool to manage that isn't overly wasteful of your time. Be interesting to see what that could garner. I'd be curious if you're open to trying it out. Sounds like you were. We have it in there already. And then my final postseason bonus. I don't know if you needed to make it a whole $1 per hour. I don't know. Could we get the kids just as motivated if it was 50 cents? I mean, because that's compounding all their hours that they're there, right? Yeah, what would you say, McKendra?
So we only had about maybe 20 kids at the end of the season who stuck the last postseason.
For 50 cents?
Yeah. So
Okay,
like
so you think
whatever
you need to
was,
make
the
it-
25 cents. It was like, so there was hardly any. So it's like, I don't think that we would have a high number to pay out anyway.
It was
Yeah.
25 cents. We'd be jumping to $1.
But it was
that
25
was
cents.
They gave them 25 cents for the whole season.
Oh, their entire paycheck of hours. Okay, gotcha. Okay, $1. Okay, I'm okay with that if you think that that's motivation. And then finally, on the wages and your matrix there on the wages, I would think that you could just round those numbers down. Like right now, you have $13.52, $16.44. I just know psychologically, teenager, even adults, 44 cents doesn't matter. If they just hear the $14 or the $15, I would just say round those down to zero. So it's $12 an hour, $14 an hour for those entry-level ones especially. I don't think so many cents psychologically matters to people. I mean, that's something in retail they do all the time.
Yeah.
In retail, you're
It originally started in 2019 as 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
and it's
That's
what
what
the
started.
colas have made it.
And the COLAs have made it.
Yeah,
Those.
so I would say I like those bumps from, $10 and $11, but I would say just take those cents off and round them. And I think the dollar, the first numerical part is gonna be enticing enough, personally, but. Council, any other feedback? This is just a feedback discussion item.
This is too simple to say. I don't know if I have landed on the problem. And there's several problems, right? And so we'd started saying that it's attracting and retaining lifeguards. And within that, there's also a subpopulation of needing a certain percentage to be older than 15. And so if we were tracking the problem over time, like the numbers I would use is percentage of 15-year-olds and then how many vacancies that you have in your, like would those be two numbers I could track to be like, these are indicators of the problem? Too many 15-year-olds or too many openings? Is that a fair simplification?
We could track those numbers. We pretty much know from payroll when people leave, and we
Yeah.
can see what age they were.
The only
versus
reason why I was
when.
asking, because if the problem is attracting and retaining a very specific demographic, or if it's attracting any lifeguards at all, that's why I was like, man, I mean, I know money helps, but I wonder, there is something about, if I could crystallize in my mind where that problem is, bonuses, or refer a friend bonus, or like title bumps, bring a friend, like I think there's so many triggers that could satisfy those issues, but I think I'm having still a hard time rounding out in my mind if we could solve that, like what the problem is, then I think I could give better feedback. But right now I'm like, oh.
I can tell you, I have teenagers who have all worked at the pool, and the things that are motivating are the returning increase, and the bonus of 25 cents was not enough for my teenagers to care when school started, very much. So I think McKendra's, hit on that, like $1 will sound just more enticing. And then it is when they're going out for their summer jobs. 15-year-olds, again, I think there's still a value to have some 15-year-olds, especially cashiering jobs. They do pretty well. It's the lifeguard position that you're trying to not have so
Till
many
9 o'clock.
15-year-olds. Yeah.
Right? Everybody's gotta go at night.
Yeah, okay, so.
But some kids that are older than 15 don't want to be lifeguards. They just like the cashiering. So I don't think cashiering staffing, my question is, you don't probably have as much trouble staffing older cashiers after 9. It's the
There's
lifeguard.
a lot less cashiers at night, so.
Yeah, so it's the lifeguard position specifically. And right now, you're suggesting a $3, numerically, you're going from 10 and, 11 to 13 and 15. I think that bump just right there is gonna, my kids all talk about with their friends in Orem and PG who work at the pool. When they hear what to them sounds like a $3 increase, I think you're gonna have a lot of response of older ones. Yeah.
The
response from the staff Friday.
Oh, yeah, we mentioned, because we had our staff holiday party as part of like our retention program to help our staff return.
That's awesome.
And most of them were all really excited and they want to come back because of it, I think. But we mentioned a possible increase in raise and they were all extremely excited.
The
They were
word
telling
will
their friends they
spread.
wanted to come back.
Because working in
Yeah.
the pool is
They love
more
it.
fun than a fast food job. I think when I hear the teenagers and my nieces and nephew who are here, they live in Orem and they work at the pool every
Yeah.
summer.
We know
You
them.
recognize Aiden
Yeah.
and Kaylin? Yes, and that's what they're talking about. It's like, I love working the pool, but it's only paying, this much. I think if we approve this, the word will get out. There's gonna be a good response. I'm confident. But again, I don't think we need to give the cents, the trailing cents. I think just round it out and that first number is gonna be the hook. Good enough. That could
I was
save
just going to
some
add
cost.
something about 16-year-olds too. Another reason why we encourage to have more is not just for like late nights, but also for the shifts during the day. There's multiple positions and spots in the rotations of our pool that require 16-year-olds. So slides, flow rider, and they just have to be 16-year-olds to even by law to work those shifts. We have to have a certain number, not just 15. But we do love our 15-year-olds also. They're great to
It's a
keep
great starting job.
Like a fun.
first job.
I'm guessing it's illegal to have pay tied to age? Like, is there a pay structure where you could get paid more for being a 16-year-old? Is that legal? I just didn't know
we
that's
can
like
make it
clearly wrong, But I don't know if it's like this could be solved if we had more 16-year-old lifeguards.
Although it's kind
Like,
of
if that would
built
be
in
the thing.
with the returning increase.
But if it's still a problem, then there
For
is.
first year, 16.
Well, if a requirement is that you have to work until 10 and you're not
Yeah.
legally qualified,
That
you have to work only the legal hours you can, and if you can't do that.
Well, you could say 17-year-olds start at the second year rate. 17 and 18-year-olds can start at the second year rate if they're a first year employee. That could
Go to second year,
go to the second year tier.
Hey, I already worked the year, why am they getting what I got?
They can
They're
do
the
more.
older
They can do
ones.
more positions
They can work later in the
because
night.
they could do the flow
Oh,
rider.
I'm
They could,
coming back now, and they're starting at what,
A lot of the first years are the 15-year-olds.
my
as we
point
look
is
at
you
them.
want to structure it so that you don't penalize
Yeah, yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that already participated
Disincentivize.
in one of your
Okay.
incentives.
So, just a logistic question, do you envision, as we're opening these positions, when 15-year-olds are applying at the same time as the older kids? Are you hiring all the older kids first, within the first few weeks, and then you say, that's as many as we got, now we'll hire 15, when, you know what I mean?
We do that for cashiers for sure. We have so many people that apply for cashiers because they don't want to go through the lifeguard certification and get a training that we start with 16 and older. And then if there's any positions open, we'll move down to 15. And we try to do that with lifeguards, but sometimes it becomes, do they have a pulse and are they breathing?
yeah, I bet.
So I think so, yeah. My answer would be yes, Adam. We always start with those older age kids and work down. So I don't know if we offer it only 16 and up and see what we get, and then open it to 15-year-olds below that. I don't know if that probably wouldn't hurt anything. It might help. We need to come back to the council, and we can come back with your suggestions, Mayor. Does anybody else have, and your suggestion, Van? We could look at that operational only for
Yeah,
parties and
looking
party
at
prices.
that from that standpoint, especially when you go into that post-school close.
Right.
That it's gonna cost us this much to get our lifeguards. This is how much that is. If nobody signs it or signs up for it, that takes care of that problem too.
Right.
But at least have it, cover it. And I love the input that you're getting from the employees. To me, that is huge. What appeals to them and what is a motivating party wage, something that goes there. And I love our lifeguards. Okay, I'm retired now, but as I've hired lots of people over the years, not all employees are the same. It would be fun to be in a position to where you're able to pick and choose, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
And that sometimes is a real challenge, I know.
It is, yeah.
I would say we recognize what our pool is. We have a pretty incredible pool. It's well known in the community and in the county as a great pool to go to.
And a national magazine.
And a national magazine. We, I don't know that the pool will ever be in the black, even from an operating standpoint, and that's okay. I still appreciate the many efforts that have been made to try to shrink that delta, and I think we've done a good job. I love the culture of the pool. I think you guys have done a great job of establishing what our pool is, and we want to continue to maintain that. And so, in these types of decisions, I appreciate proposals from you. I hope whatever you come back with, and I support a lot of what the mayor said, but I hope it's what you guys feel is right for the pool. And if there's something you feel really strongly about, you guys are in the trenches, you have the spreadsheets, you're there every day.
Agreed.
We trust you guys.
If I'm off.
We trust you guys, and so a lot of what the mayor said makes sense to me. We want to support you financially because we want the pool to continue to be the wonderful amenity it's been for the community. So we'll look forward to you coming back with a proposal, and with the exception of something outlandish, I think we'll support you in what you come back with.
Alan, nothing outlandish.
And we get to define what that is.
I'd say reiterate what Jake just said too about trusting you folks. You boots on the ground, you're right there amongst them all. You're asking us if we'd support different things. Yes, and maybe no, but I trust you more than anything to take where you've been and bring something forward that you feel good about, that then maybe narrows the gap on a lot of things. I'd support being more competitive, trying to get that, but it feels like whack-a-mole a little bit. We solved that one, but no, now we've got this. We're going to hit it. We don't know where it's going, so that's why I appreciate the mayor's approach to it. Let's just, a little bit at a time, just try to kind of keep, working it around till we get to a point. Yeah, because it's not all going to be solved in one shot. If we did everything here and said, yeah, let's shut that down, do this, pay the extra money, we don't know where it's going, so just gradual approach.
Yeah, and so even though I was asking more questions, because I don't just want to throw a recommendation and then have it, not work out. But if having recommendations is helpful, I would isolate the variables and start with wage if you think that's the best attractor retainer, even if it's for this season, and retain the hours and the season, but just bump it up and just see what that does to your, if it's a staffing question, and if a pay raise solves the staffing issue, but it keeps it open for the public and allows the rentals to keep coming in, I would just isolate it. And then if after the raise you're like, turns out we're still having a retention issue, then it's like, oh, well, maybe it's not. And anyway, I just think if retention is the thing, I would even say splitting it. If 30% are coming from Orem, The next large percent is coming from PG, and they're at 12 and 13 respectively. If we're at 1250, we're straddling it. 13 is like, it's the equivalent. So I would have something closer to that for their starting range, and then use the difference of the money you thought you would use for a creative bonus structure. And I would have bonuses be shorter, because teens need adults too. We need smaller sprints. And so it's like, if there's a mid-season bonus and then there's another, the likelihood that they will keep that looped in their mind is greater than waiting until the end. So I think you could still use some of that money in creative ways. Friend referral bonuses, if you refer a friend and they're hired and they can qualify for these tasks, then you can get an immediate bonus of this. I would do things like that if there's a retention or staffing issue.
One other thing, as I've had many teenagers at my house, my kids and their friends and their cousins who all work at this pool and have worked, the one thing I think that is good, there is a burnout that happens with you guys as well, but with the teenagers working the pool, and that's why they drop off a lot of times once school starts, or sometimes even before school starts. But if they know that dollar bonus is in there, I think that eye on that price could be really helpful. But one of the other things that the chatter that I hear is, because the pool's open so late, it inhibits their social time. And so I think closing that 30-minute early, I think it has that benefit as well of not having those ones willing to work the later shift, because they know they'll get off. It won't be coming home at 11 or 11:30 at night on those party nights. So I think that 30-minute shave down has that benefit as well.
And if you create a desire and demand for people to work here, then maybe they're off some days, and because you have enough people to cover.
Right.
Sure.
Because I know the kid, exactly, my kids would be scheduled, they were like, every single Friday and Saturday night, I'm not getting a night off to hang with my friends. So, okay.
What do you mean, friends?
I don't have the wealth of experience that the mayor has with, my kids were all gone by the time the pool came around. But there are a couple young men in my neighborhood that I reached out to. In fact, I reached out last night as well. And at the beginning of the year, they were very excited about working the pool. And I think that goes to the culture, right? It's a great environment. They love it. They compare it to making money in other venues, and they do love it. They're at the party they attended, they heard the pay increase. So they are going to have some expectations in there, which I think it's appropriate. The numbers speak, and we certainly want to have pay that's equitable throughout the cities, comparable, competitive. But the party thing, if we raised it and it still books, then yeah, I'm in favor of raising it some more. As far as an increase in the future that you talked about, I would be much more open to raising it for non-residents. We're subsidizing already. I loved what the mayor said, dropping off those dollars. There was one line where it was 17 and 17. You'd have to address that somehow. But a lot has been said. Thank you for
You can
all
save
the
a
work
lot
that
of
you
money
do.
with those little pennies trailing on, right?
Yeah.
Because then there's the tax contribution too.
Was the rental increase last year?
No, go ahead.
800 to 1,200. So we went from 500 to 800 to 1,200 in the past couple of years.
Okay, here's the question. We're gonna close that window of rental time a half hour, but keep the rate the same.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Shrinkflation.
We get it at the grocery store.
You go to 1,500 and see if they all rent.
I would
And
bump
if
it. I would
and if
still
they
go
don't,
up.
Well, but
then
you were gonna
drop the
maybe play
price.
with the competitive bid.
I would say, if we are maxing out on our reservations, we're probably not at the correct price point. Once we start losing time and there's not every single night filled, we'll probably be making the same amount of money, plus then have some extra options for people to rent, which
Sure.
would then increase our revenue. So finding that number,
Yeah.
it's just
What's
a
the sweet
hot
spot?
commodity, this pool.
And if there's
great.
any night that's not booked and you want it booked, then you say, hey, we have a sale.
We can sell that in that way too. I mean, we end up with the bad dates and people ho-hum about it, but then it sells. We're confident at
And
this
what if
price
you
point, it
opened
always
the,
sells.
so with the bidding concept, maybe you wouldn't let people call the first 5 minutes and park on those dates. You could leave those dates open and say, for 2 weeks, these dates, we want it, what dates do you want? And then have like how would that work?
We charge more for Friday and Saturday now? We should.
Yeah,
Premium weekends.
To move away from that bidding, which is gonna be cumbersome and hard to do.
That's what I'm worried about, is it
move
would just
that,
be too much
already do that.
communication.
You know what the prime dates are.
Maybe
If
we
it's
could
this
have,
Friday, Saturday.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
maybe we could put Juan in charge of this. Everybody hates Juan anyway. So,
Wedding venues do that too. On weekends, Fridays and Saturdays are 30 or 40% higher.
agreed. We
Love
got
it.
that note down. So.
You guys are awesome.
We'll come back to you as soon as we can, as soon as we have some spots. When I show Adam, we'll go through it and then get on the council because we have dates waiting. I don't think anybody's gonna run off and go, well, let's go get the,
So maybe the
Blank pool
Tuesday
instead of
through
this.
Thursday say the same price, but they're a half hour shorter. Friday and Saturday bump up.
I'm gonna disagree. I think we raise all of them.
All of them? Okay.
If you're selling out, you are not charging enough, plain and simple. And,
They are getting
and just
less
from a
time.
business standpoint, when you're losing money and you're selling out,
it's a wash.
Everyone's used to shrinkflation, so shorter hours is expected.
I mean, if you're not selling out, then it's
gotta
another
do
issue.
something.
Yeah, we've yet to ever have a vacancy over the years, right? We've yet to, and until we hit that, we do a lot of loans for storage units, and if you have one that's 100%, you're priced wrong. If you're not 93%, you want to be in the low 90s is what you want to see on vacancy, because then you're charging enough that not everyone's coming, but you're charging that optimal amount. I don't think we found that yet, so I'm a fan. Exciting. You guys are awesome. We'll
Yeah,
support
thank you.
you.
It's great to talk about it and flesh out all the ideas. It's awesome.
Thank you, council.
Guarantee 100-degree weather and.
No rain.
Well, there's not gonna be any rain, that's for sure.
All right, wonderful. Okay, we have
Thank
item
you.
number 12, review and signing of disclosure statements. Those are all in front of you, and then our open,
11, actually, sorry, Mayor.
excuse me, sorry, the public meetings training.
Okay, I got good news and I got bad news. Okay. That's the bad news. I had the game all set up, I was ready to go, and it freezes every time I try to do it this morning.
Oh, shoot.
The good news is, the game's not working. So we get a 7-minute video instead of a 20-minute game.
Yes.
So, and since we're watching a movie, I brought some stuff, Brittany's gonna help us out with it.
Awesome.
Nice touch, nice touch.
The movie. How nice.
Dang, he's good. You're good.
That's a great.
And I don't even know what good and plenty are. I've never seen those in
Black
movies.
licorice.
There better be another one.
So we grabbed.
Do you like black licorice?
Yeah.
You would like it.
Okay.
Candy coated.
And I got some Raisinets too.
Ooh.
Don't know
Who eats these?
who eats these, but that's another memory from the kids.
You gotta jump up.
want?
Yeah, there's only.
What did you take? What do you want? Milk duds?
He's so sad.
Raisinets?
Good and plenty are the best.
They've got 3 of you already submitted your forms. If you already have it done, if not, you can be filling that out while you're watching this. How's that?
Completely focused, of course.
The white ones and the pink ones taste the same.
Yeah.
So what is the Open and Public Meetings Act? It's the state law that ensures government actions and deliberations are openly conducted. Before we continue, keep in mind that this video is an overview and exceptions may exist based on your entity type. We focus on local government, not state requirements. When in doubt, read the law and consult with your legal counsel. So what's considered an open and public meeting? It's when a public body quorum, also known as a simple majority, meets to discuss or act upon government business. It includes the meetings sometimes referred to as workshops or executive sessions. Regular meetings, public hearings, electronic meetings, and emergency meetings are all open and public meetings. Open and public meetings don't include chance or social meetings. A public hearing is a type of open and public meeting where citizens have a reasonable opportunity to speak. Public hearings happen when a government adopts a budget, imposes or increases taxes or fees, or transfers money from an enterprise fund. These meetings have extra notice and posting requirements and won't be addressed in this video. An electronic meeting is a type of open and public meeting that's convened electronically, such as via phone or the internet. Remember, the governing body must adopt a resolution, rule, or ordinance allowing and governing electronic meetings. OPMA adds additional requirements too. An emergency meeting may be held to discuss an urgent matter due to unforeseen circumstances. In order to hold the meeting, the best notice that's feasible is provided of the time, location, and topics to be considered. An attempt is made to contact all governing body members, and the governing body majority approves the meeting. An open and public meeting may be closed to discuss any of the following: a person's character, competence, or health, collective bargaining, litigation, certain real property transactions, including any form of a water right or water shares, with specific restrictions, security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, investigations of criminal misconduct, and private or protected information per the Utah Procurement Code, including trade secrets. A closed meeting may be held only if a quorum is present and the meeting was properly noticed. 2/3 of the governing body present at the meeting need to vote yes to close a meeting. Quick math lesson. 2 divided by 3 equals 66.7%. Let's say your governing body has 5 members present at the meeting. If 3 out of 5 members vote yes, that equals 60%, which is not equal or greater than 66.7%, which means you're 1 member short and would need 4 out of 5 members to vote yes. During a closed meeting, a governing body can't interview someone applying to fill an elected position, discuss filling a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, discuss the character, competence, or health of a person whose name was submitted for consideration to fill a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, approve any ordinance, resolution, rule, regulation, contract, or appointment, or take a vote, unless it's a vote on a motion to end the closed portion of the meeting and return to an open meeting. When a governing body closes a meeting, the following must be publicly announced and entered into the minutes of the open meeting at which the closed meeting was approved: the reason or reasons for holding the closed meeting, the location where the closed meeting will be held, and the vote of each member of the governing body either for or against the motion to close the meeting. If a closed meeting is discussing a person's character, competence, or health, or security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, or several other exceptions, mostly related to state bodies or project entities, no recording or minutes are required. However, the presiding member needs to sign a sworn written statement stating such. If the closed meeting is held for any other reason, a recording must be made, which includes date, time, and place of the meeting, names of members present and absent, and names of all others, except where disclosure would infringe on the confidentiality necessary to fulfill the original purpose of closing the meeting. Regular open and public meetings require 24 hours notice. The public notice includes the meeting agenda, date, time, and place. Public meeting agendas need to include reasonably specified topics to be considered, with each topic listed under a separate agenda item on the meeting agenda. The governing body may not consider a topic in an open meeting that wasn't on the agenda. If a new topic not on the agenda is raised by the public during an open meeting, the governing body may discuss the topic. However, final action may not be taken on the new topic during that meeting. Additionally, entities holding regular meetings scheduled in advance over the course of the year need to provide annual notice of the entire year's meeting schedule. The notice must include date, time, and place for each meeting.
Notice is posted on the public body's website, in a public location such as the location where the meeting will be held, and on Utah's public notice website in accordance with Utah Code 63G-30-102.
Typically, posting on the public notice website is done by the records officer, recorder, or clerk. However, it's the governing body's responsibility to ensure notice is provided. State Archives has prepared a training manual and quick guide for owners and posters, as well as training videos that can be accessed at their website, archives.utah.gov. Written minutes and a recording are kept of all open meetings, with few exceptions. Written minutes include the date, time, and place of the meeting, the names of members present and absent, the substance of all matters, names of citizens providing comments, the substance of the comments provided, any information a body member requests be entered into the minutes or recording, and a record by individual member of each vote taken. A body with elected members must record each vote in list format by category for each action taken by a member, including yes votes, no votes, and absent members next to each member's name. A recording must be a complete and unedited record of all open portions of the meeting from beginning to end, and be labeled with the meeting date, time, and place. All or any part of an open meeting may be independently recorded by any person in attendance if the recording does not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. Pending minutes means written minutes of an open meeting in draft form subject to change before being approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Pending minutes must contain a clear indication, such as a draft or pending watermark, that the governing body hasn't yet approved the minutes and that the minutes are subject to change until the public body approves them. Approved minutes means written minutes of an open meeting approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Entities must establish and implement procedures for the public body's approval of written minutes. Public meeting pending minutes, approved minutes, and recordings are public records under GRAMA. Any individual who publicly presents information relating to an item on the public body's meeting agenda must provide a copy of the information for inclusion in the public record. Make pending minutes available to the public within 30 days. Within 3 business days after approving written minutes of an open meeting, make approved minutes and any public materials available at the Utah Public Notice website, the entity's primary office, and the entity's website. Within 3 business days after holding an open meeting, make an audio recording of the open meeting available to the public for listening.
Did you know that linen is the only fabric that bacteria cannot survive on? This is one of the reasons Jesus told us to wear and sleep on it.
I wanted to make sure we got that last part.
Yeah.
So.
There was a comment on procurement.
Yeah,
Is that a new thing?
Yeah, and that deals with the state office of procurement specifically. So it doesn't, you know, and the auditor, state auditor's office is the one who made this video. So it does not apply to us and our.
You say we've never done it.
You're right, All right, that's it.
Any questions for Brian?
Thank you. That was fun.
And 7 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes.
Very good. All right, that does conclude our agenda items. Other than item number 12, which was to sign your disclosure statements here that were left in front of you and get those back into Brittany.
Except yours, so.
I handed it.
Oh, okay, we're set. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Roderick, seconded by Councilmember Hooley. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Fantastic. Have a great week, everybody.
Hey, so there's an open house next week?
Oh, yeah, so Castlewood had requested the community center, the Powell Auditorium there to hold an open house. We'll be sending out some notices, and after they had met with you all individually or as groups, my understanding is there was some messaging that you wanted more public input on their plans. And so this is their effort to gather some public input. You're not obligated to go, but we didn't know who would show up, and so we advertised it as a joint meeting. So they'll collect public comment, we'll have some of our planning staff there, and then they'll present that in an upcoming meeting.
Have we had any Costco's come back?
No.
Good.